And well, I am looking at the map draft, and I gotta say, Crackety, there's not really many areas we can drag the game out. Maybe Cliffside, but 4 out of 5 maps feel like they're gonna require a lot of momentum play here. Defensive, not really enabled.
Yeah, indeed. And I mean, we're getting some prime civilizations for aggressive play here as well. Byzantines, Ayyubids. And then on the other side of elephants, we're getting the Ottomans and French. So aggression is definitely going to be the name of the game here in this one.
Ooh, and kind of run me through maybe what we're expecting to see here, Dabston, because the Ottomans has how to put this politically. They've been looking like they live in an alternate universe where actually the Ottomans are being sieged in the city surrounded by Byzantines.
Yeah, it's one of those. It feels like on paper, Ottomans, it sounds great, but it just feels like once they ever start to come out to play, they don't always kind of meet the expectations that you would think about, kind of underwhelming for a little bit. They do have Janissaries, which will sometimes surprise people in team games, but yet another immobile unit that can kind of get run around quite a bit. Looking at the maps, I feel like Blade might have done the map draft over here for Team Canada, as not much water, or actually basically no water.
No, is that a little bit surprising, Crackety? I mean, what we know of the teams, I almost feel like the Canadians have started to really come into their own, splashing about on some of those more water-oriented maps.
Yeah, hybrid maps in general definitely feels like that's like the home territory of the Canadians there. We've seen them time and time again on these hybrid maps just absolutely dominating with their ability to micro on many different avenues at the same time. That's one of their strengths, but it's not all that they rely on. Granted, I would have definitely liked to see it here, but I think on the opposite side, Louis and CSO, I think they also definitely don't want to play on water maps. So maybe there was a little bit of vetoing going on, and they somehow managed to go like scrape by luckily here and not have to get any water maps in.
Well, we've seen some Scarlet Devil in these series so far, Dabston. Is it finally time for the Canadians to accept some help from south of the border?
You know, Blade, he's been ready and waiting. He's been practicing his Path of Exile grind. I mean, he's mentally prepped for this series here. Whether it's might be from the sidelines, he's mentally prepped for it.
Got it. So in the event, well, this is kind of awkward actually. He's gonna have to be overly prepped because in the event that a tree falls on their power line, you actually lose both members of Team Canada's active roster. So I don't know if you've been prepping this Blade. Probably been playing some AoE4 with one hand, Path Exile with the other. I need you to start practicing that double Age of Empires build. One hand on each mouse, no keyboard gamer. But folks, we are just 30 seconds away from the second semifinals of the day. Reminder, before the grand finals, we have a humongous announcement. There's just so much to go over, but we'll get to that in due time. Before we do, we need to see who will be challenging Free Deader. They are right now sitting in the grand finals, waiting for a challenger in a best of 7. But before that, we get a best of 5 between NA and Asia. And it all starts in the baldest of lands.
All right, and here we go. Our last semifinal for today. Starting us off, we got Team Canada consisting of Puppy Paw and Wham. On the other hand side, Team Elephant representing China, CSO and Louis MT, French and Ottomans.
Yeah, and we are going to see that early military school opening for the Ottoman player. There's been a lot of kind of times in the recent meta where you'll see a lot of players just skip that, but in team games, especially in a map that's very open, having some extra military units you can't ever complain about, and it'll continue to be pumping units throughout the game.
Yeah, free military is definitely not something that you would typically complain about. Not just that, but you're able to use those spearmen as well, just to be able to lure in deer. That's something that I really like. Like currently in the current meta, the way military schools, the timing works on spearmen, you're probably not going to be able to really deny any resources. Instead, what you can do is just lure in deer and getting an additional 2,500 resources safely under your TC just by utilizing your free spearmen absolutely can propel you in like throughout the feudal age.
Yep, and that's where you mention it, and that's really where we see that first spearman, second spearman go. Nice old deer pack behind the base to push on in for himself. So we'll see if Puppy and Wham decide to have some words to say against that. Go do some deer spreading, kill the deer on out before the spears can push those on in. We can see Wham dropping his good old House of Wisdom. We'll see what age up he is going to go for. I'm guessing it's not going to be advancement into Pro Scouts. I'm calling it now.
Advancement into Pro Scouts, is that what we're going to be seeing? We're going to have to... it doesn't look like it. Wham's already overgathered for that.
No, we're not seeing it. That was my call. We're not seeing it.
Not seeing. Okay, I see. I gotcha. That's a nice Grand Winery spot. I mean... Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I'm not gonna say anything bad about it. It's right next to the TC. Fits in perfectly to the corner of the TC and into the berries.
Exactly. Some nice safe spots to gather from. You don't have to move too far out. Those first olive groves you get are going to be very close to your TC and in where you want them to be. CSO about to be dropping the School of Cav here in just a second. And there it is. And we're really going to see this. This is one of the maps that it's all about these middle wood lines. If it starts to get to this kind of later stages of feudal, early mid castle, it's just the game can completely fall apart when it comes to those mid wood lines.
Yeah. Twin Minaret Madras coming in for Louis here, so it's not going to be any passive gold generation. Instead, he's absolutely going to have a fun time when it comes to his food income. Spearman looks like he also managed to lure in one of the deer, but now he's moving forward. So moving forward, not just with the spearman, but also with the villager. Early walls coming in from Puppy Paw, man. I'm telling you, the Canadians, every time I talk to them, they're like, oh yeah, I'm an aggressive player. This doesn't strike me like an aggressive player. This strikes me like a boomer, man.
I 100% agree. This is a boomer move for sure. They're walling on up. This is minute 350. Like, come on here. But this will make it to where the knights don't really have spots to go to. Oh my, it's a villager walking on forward with that spearman. So wants to get an outpost up. And then not only will it be an outpost up, it's going to be knights to follow up. So it's not like you can just go, oh, let me, drop a range, put an archer out. It'll deny the tower rush. It's like, no. You need something more. But instead, it looks like Louis did not get there in time.
Yeah, Louis like, oh, you got the age up in? Okay, never mind. I'm going back. Walls? Yeah, no, I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, walls and age up, decides to run on home. The villager, he just said, we wanted you to get some extra steps, punished him a little bit. Maybe he got caught stealing some bread.
Yeah, but now this is like the point where it's a little bit awkward. The spearman timing is always awkward for the Ottomans, just because it comes in so late. Louis managed to lure in one of the deer. That's fine. Like you're getting some bonus food income there. Actually doesn't have any more sheep under his TC, so now is absolutely going to have to move out onto those free berries that he's generating. I mean, if he's got the time, he can maybe still go for the lure there. And there's already an outpost coming up for Wham on the gold as well. And he's just going to be sitting perfectly safe inside of his base. We can already see him microing his villagers over there onto different berry spots. Make sure not to fully deplete any of them.
Yeah, he'll have a very nice timing for himself. He'll also have some nice support here from Byzantines as Puppy went with those few limited.
That's disgusting.
Oh, what a dirty dog. Oh
Dervish
my gosh.
Deer luring.
This is like one of those when you first see someone do it with like the gur and you're like, oh my gosh. And then now you start to see someone do it with the dervish, and how many more times we're going to see players do this on the ladder.
Yeah, I mean, it's very smart. It's very smart. Still, I'm looking at this as a civilization like Iowitz, and I remember the times I tried to kill a villager with the knight, with the king from the English, and there's like two dervishes there out healing my king, and I'm like, all right.
It out heals the royal knight too.
Yeah, it's yeah. It's one of those mood situations where you're just like, is this not entertaining enough for you? Like, I'm hitting you. Go down. Oh my god, that's a quick age up. That is a quick age up.
Yep, and it's economic wing too, so I love just like that extra villager boost that you get from it. And meanwhile, they haven't taken any damage. They have a nice, safe economy with their walls up. It's very, very condensed, and it really feels like French. They don't get to play their game, you know. CSO definitely went with his own pro scouts, so he's going to try to, you know, take a lot of this mid-map deer. So same things we talked about in previous games. There might be a time where Puppy and Wham could be vulnerable once they kind of need to make these food transitions, but they still got deer and they still have berries on the backside of their base.
Yeah, an issue for them is that Wham lured roughly 2,000 food worth of resources under his TC. So he's going to be a happy camper for the rest of the Feudal Age here, I feel like. Well, Feudal Age is about to be finished anyway, so for the good start of the Castle Age, he's just going to be sitting in his base, gathering up those deer, making camel lances, and just feeling happy.
Yeah, he'll be able to grab up 2 relics very, very quickly as well on the backside of his base. You know, go ahead and get that gold flow going and then move out, go take the more contested relics out in the mid-map.
First bunch of longbows are going to be coming out soon. Stables now coming up, so most likely are going to just be that camel lancer play. We're up to 4-5 royal knights so far from the French, but this just feels like as soon as the age up comes in, like all the berries are still up there. We're gonna be seeing 7 villagers immediately coming out from Wham onto those berries. This is looking pretty rough right now. Looks like Louis is already looking for those relics. Wants to make sure that once that age up comes in, there's not going to be any freebies. I only see one dervish there. Where's the other one? Is it towards the bottom? He actually picked off a dervish at the bottom.
Oh. Yeah, great pickup there by Louis. So was able to pick off one of the dervishes, has some spears sitting at another relic in the north. Villagers on the... What the...
That... Yeah. Okay.
He charge canceled. We'll go with that.
Yeah. Maybe he was charging earlier and there's like only a finite amount of time that the knight can be charging and it might have just ran out as he was about to complete the charge there.
Maybe he charged the winery?
Oh man. Camels now coming out and they're charging for a lot longer.
Yes, they are trying to get the circle in on the knight / scout. Oh, good brace there. One knight gets picked on out.
This is a great follow-up Castle Age timing though from CSO, and Louis is not far off either. Puppy Paw gonna go up soon behind this as well. The issue that I see there, wait, did Wham lose villagers? He's only 4 villagers ahead of Puppy Paw. He must have lost 3 villagers.
He must have. It's either that or he idled himself.
No, I don't think that's it. That would have been not typical for him. Like right now, looking at the economy count, like they're even.
Yeah, and really shouldn't be at this point in time. All Castle Ages are coming out, so forget about this more of a open map. Oh, there's gonna be some Feudal Age aggression. Yeah, no. We're just talking about, you know, Castle Age aggression. 10 minutes, everyone's gonna be 11 minutes. Everyone's gonna be Castle Age.
Relic hasn't been scouted from Puppy Paw and Wham there. It's right next to their base. So it looks like there was a little bit of selective scouting going on, and a dervish has just been found out and will probably be going down here. These guys, it's actually disgusting just how quick dervishes are. Like, it's a religious unit. Move slower, damn it. My knight can't catch up to you.
Now the Camel Lancer's starting to circle. Louis just still has his main mass trying to deny that relic on the central point near the wood lines. The MIA has finished. The Golden Horn Tower about to finish as well. So everyone's castle, we're all on equal footing here. Economy's dead even. Military's basically dead even.
Just about as even as it gets. The Wham is still in a position to gather up some relics. Second dervish now in queue from that, from the mosque that he has. And now we got some Midnight just moving out on the map. Imam coming out, tries to get some relics now as well. Louis does have a couple of spearmen at the top side there. Actually, yeah, the 0 point was used for those imams. Oh, but looks like there's another unit from Wham over on one of those relics. Okay, but there are
Ooh.
veterans the archer. Oh, Louis has to be careful. Louis, your imam, Louis.
Oh, he thought he had gotten enough room. He thought he had escorted him far enough. Seems to be taken out. Camel. Oh, not quite.
Oh, imam.
Oh, he's going for it.
No. Yeah, he has to run though.
Are there any spears here? There's like 1-2 spears here in this mix. Other than that, Camel Lancers, they're going to have a heyday here. Knights here in reinforcements, and now Wham circles back on away, and another Imam falling.
The 0 point pretty much completely neutralized. That is devastating, and Wham just took the relic.
A good pickup here for Team Canada, Team NA.
Behind the CSO, he's trying to get a keep up. A lot of villagers on stone. And he did go up with the Royal Institute, so his knights, they're a lot stronger than the Camel Lancers in a one-on-one.
Yeah, that's one of those where you definitely will get baited into this fight thinking, oh, equal numbers, Camel Lancers counter Knights. It's like, yeah, Royal Institute Knights still can win those fights very easily. We still see some deer getting shuffled back on in. And we saw earlier when those Limited A were moving up to the north, Puppy and Wham had not scouted the relic in the north side. So there's a reason why they have not moved out to those relics.
Yeah, so overall, still 3 relics remaining on the map. I don't think Louis gotten any of them so far. Or has he?
I don't think so.
I think there's like 1 red dot on the southern side that is moving slowly, a little bit further to the right, Car. But there's an outpost going up as well.
Oh, that's one of those you shift clicked it and he came back home with nothing. And you're like, dang, all right, didn't get it.
Are we seeing any Janissaries? First couple of Janissaries are now going to be in queue. Janissaries are always a field's bad man, though, when you're up against a unit like the Longbows. There was a really cool patch recently, well, a new season update pretty much, that also changed the way Janissaries deal with most ranged units. So nowadays, only archery-type units, or specifically archers, are able to do bonus damage against Janissaries. No longer crossbows. But what does Puppy Paw have? Not crossbows, it's gonna be mass longbowmen.
Yep.
Ooh,
Camel Lancers getting another pickup. Not only that, they saw right as the mangonel pops out, and what a good timing, or moved forward. What a good timing, a good pickup. Not only that, some villagers back on the wood line having to run out and about. So these Camel Lancers are causing mayhem in the economy of Louis EMT.
Yeah, this is starting to hurt quite a bit at the moment. Still more relics going over to Wham as well behind us. Well, right now he's just carrying it there, but surely it's not gonna, like, die to that one spearman, right?
Surely. Oh, nice pickup by CSO, able to take down a Camel Lancer, able to take down a Dervish, and it looks like CSO and Louis want to start grouping up and maybe moving out together. But meanwhile, Puppy Paw is thinking the same thing. They haven't seen his army in a little bit. He's grouping up, and the Dervish is just outrunning him. Yep.
I'm
Nothing to see
at,
here.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. I'm like, developers, please, no. Stop him. He can't keep getting away with this. Yeah,
he does indeed get away with this. Louis pulled back his units. We can see one single solo relic in the bank for Louis right now.
Yeah. Behind this, Louis has a great amount of archers.
No one scouted this other one.
So you're telling me there's still a chance. 2 relics for Louis.
For sure.
Potentially.
For sure.
By the end of this game. That's an insane amount of units from Puppy Paw right now. 70 military units. Louis, who's playing as the Ottomans, that's like the mass military civilization. He's lagging behind, and his units aren't as strong. He doesn't have longbows. He doesn't have Limited.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier in the game that Vortex had, where he had like 130 units and 60 eco. The other couple civs that come to mind would be Byzantines, Ottomans, and Delhi are the other civs that can kind of do that. And you're already starting to see that here from Byzantines and kind of from Ottomans as well, both popping up their military counts almost to 70.
Yeah, it looks like CISO actually didn't go for a keep inside of his base. Instead, it's a second TC, so economic scaling should be looking good here for him. He's got 30 knights out right now. He pretty much barely lost a knight so far in this game, and he is still playing with the Royal Institute, so as long as this game stays in Castle Age, he's going to be a happy camper. He doesn't want to let this game go to Imperial Age, though. Once Imperial Age comes in, his opponents, they got the same upgrades that he has in Castle Age. That's not fair.
Yeah, also Ottomans kind of fully online. We saw 4 military schools finished, and inside of Blacksmith Influence, MIA has been finished too. So a lot of free units coming out consistently for the Ottomans.
We're seeing some Picasso walls coming up by Wham now as well on that side. So going to find raids, or rather finding value with raids, is going to be a little bit tough. Double Manganique up from Wham as well now. Only one from Louis, as his initial Mangonel has been sniped by the Camel Lancers. And now there's a keep going up on the big gold.
Oh, a lot of Royal Knights here. Wham, he took the fight, but I don't think he knew how many Knights were actually there. Lost, actually, I think he only, it was 1 for 1, but I feel like a lot more damage went down on those Camel Lancers.
They do see the keep. Are they going to try and take the fight? Double Manganique over here as well. Now farm transition going up behind those walls. Looks like they want to take the fight potentially here now.
I think they might just be a little late. Manganique starting to fire off already. Mangonel not here from CSO and Louis. Camel Lancers already diving through the backside. Janissaries, though, will be the easy unit to counter that out. And I just feel like the Manganiques... Oh.
They've been sniped?
Manganiques both get sniped on out. Limitane kind of out of position here. Knights from CSO are so tanky. Still has 31 of them in this fight. Wham and Puppy starting to get pushed back. They do not have the value here for it. The keep has finished, so we'll push back Team Elephant at least for a little bit, but fight definitely goes in the favor of Team Elephant.
Definitely did. Only 7 Camel Lances remaining at the end of it. And that's brutal. And there's so many weak Knights, and they're all just going to start healing up again. Behind the CSO, they've got a great, economic lead as well.
Yeah, started to take control of this mid-map. Meanwhile, Puppy and Wham are the ones walling, having to stay behind their walls, although they have secured an 8K gold for themselves. So game definitely is this point where it's going to start extending, even though it's super open, super, map that you don't think would extend too long. We're at the point where now starting to see these Castle Ages get into the later Castle Age stages.
Yeah, Imam also helps with the healing here, potentially. Army pushing forward. Still no matter at the moment from Louis. Definitely needs to get one out. There's one in queue, maybe from a military school. That's why it's taking so long for that guy to come out. You really want to have that attack speed buff.
Villagers, they ran away from that berry bush, but didn't run away far enough as villagers get spotted on out. CSO and Louis, there's not a
they
gate
can't
yet.
get that up in time. They can't get that gate up in time. Oh no, yeah, you gotta delete that. But now the Knights are in the back line. Okay, never mind. There's units to defend. Okay, that's the best decision. That is the best decision he could have made.
Yes, it is. He would have had devastating losses. Walked them in and actually is able to pick up 4 Knights for that. So that could have gone a lot worse there for Puppy Paw and Wham. But now they have this military mass knocking on the doorstep. And like you said, a lot of those lower health Knights have been healing up the whole time. You can see those green plus marks still happening as we're talking.
Yeah, Mangonel is also doing a good amount of damage to these buildings here. Only a single, never mind, second Manganique is just coming out again. Good shot on the longbows. Able to pick 3 or 4 off of them. Charge coming in as well. Where's the Matter? Matter is coming in now.
Double Mangonels just stopped, didn't set on up. Ended up firing off on the outpost. CSO and Louis, though, they've taken an economic lead. They have a huge military lead, and they have Royal Bloodlines Knights. So not only do they have the numbers, they have value by a lot.
Yeah, I think that first fight was absolutely crucial for them, because then Puppy had to reinvest into military. He couldn't just go up to Imperial Age. And that means that CSO is going to continue having this Imperial Age technology while in Castle Age.
Yeah, and remember what you had mentioned as well is behind this CSO, he went 2 TCs, so the longer this goes, the better this is for their eco. They have well, I guess Wham has 2 TCs as well, but I feel like just French's TCs work a little bit harder, scaling, obviously in a great way there behind it, especially when they're being the aggressors. They're doing raids, they're hitting vills, they're hitting different spots of the eco.
Yeah, Louis now is the first one to reach 200 out of 200 pop here in this game, which means that he can start potentially eyeing towards an Imperial Age play. An Imperial Age play for Ottomans is unlike for any other civilization. Usually when you invest a lot of resources, you might not have as much army, but Louis, he actually increases his army production if he goes Imperial Age. Keep tries to go up from Puppy Paw. Puppy Paw, where's he getting food from right now? He's very much food-starved currently. Like, this is it. This is his entire food economy.
Yeah, he doesn't have any other food economy. You asked where is he getting it from. Remember how many villagers we saw on those berries? He never made that massive olive grove transition that you expect from Byzantines. Hasn't been able to be on these olive groves that are around the winery either, with the way that the army is posturing from Elephant, and houses now being burnt. Team Canada, Team NA, they're in some trouble here.
They are. There's not that many longbows out at the moment. 77 archers compared to 20 longbows. Granted, there are also
mangonel shots.
Oh god, that was a great one from Wham. Finding some good hits there. Louis, he's still glued to that 200 out of 200 population though.
Yeah, and it's actually one where as military units fall, he actually might get some extra villagers on out, but right now it's all military for him.
Yeah, also whenever a unit dies, like units are just held up inside of those military schools. As soon as the unit dies, it just comes out of the military schools. Unless there's like a big fight, Louis can definitely like reasonably lose a couple units here and there and be fine still.
Mangonels trying to take down the mangonels on the other side. I wouldn't complain if they started taking down the olive groves. We know how bad that food situation is for Puppy. The crossbows cannot step up for Wham. They're too scared, especially running through the choke points that are those production buildings. They could, at any point in time, can just take a massive shot. Crossbows are setting up. Mangonels, though, shoot at the longbows.
Careful, shooting at the other mangonels. Never mind, good shot now on the crossbows.
Good shot on the crossbows. Not onto the main mass, but still off to one of those side masses. TC trying to focus down the mangonels, but there's villagers here trying to repair them. Another huge shot! God!
Devastating hits coming in. Villagers that were repairing have been picked off. Louis now pushing in, and CSO splitting his Night Mass.
Another good mangonel shot. Army numbers just still continuing to climb for CSO and Louis. They're continuing to take these fights under town center fire, not allowing Puppy to get on these olive groves. Now you have those royal bloodlines knights circling. You see the picture-in-picture, but that's only one of two, maybe three different groups of knights now splitting, and you cannot deal with those easy. This might be going for the throat here from Elephant. They are wanting to finish this now.
Louis losing his own mangonels. He's diving a little bit deep here right now into the base of Puppy Paw. In the back, more night raids coming in, finding the gold from Wham at the same time. There are just raids going on everywhere right now. Still, there's a good night mass here at the front side as well for a potentially big fight. Shield Wall has been activated. Once Shield Wall comes in, that's when the Knights can really start taking some good engagements as well, as the Spearmen lose the majority of their attack speed. Louis needs to be careful with those mangonel shots.
Out. Look at the teal villagers on the ground. That's not just one spot. It's everywhere. Wham's down to 47 eco.
90 to 187 villagers in this game, and GG gets called. It's a domination. CSO with the raids. Game number 1 going over to Elephant.
What a wild game number 1, and I think a lot of the viewers might be surprised here thinking, Team Canada should be the favorites, and we know that, Team Elephant, they've played together for a while. They are team game players. They're used to this and showing out in game number 1.
Man, oh man, this could have been an entirely different game if Canada managed to get Imperial Age at one point, but no. Elephant playing it smart, keeping Team Canada up in Castle Age. That means that CSO, he's always gonna have this incredible advantage of having that Imperial Age technology in the Castle Age. And Wham and Puppy Paw, they just don't really have a good unit to compete. Sure, there's Mass Limit Knife, sure, there's Mass Crossbow, but there's just so many archers and good mangonel shots coming in as well. Eco loss 61 for Wham, 32 for Puppy Paw. Immaculately played by Team Elephant.
Yeah, 0 losses for a French side. That is crazy to think about. And especially considering he ended up going 2 TC. And you could see that on the economic graph. He dropped that second TC earlier. He was able to climb up those numbers earlier and just really, really affected those resource play. And this is one where there were just a lot of fights that ended up slowly, I feel like, building up for CSO and Louis. They picked off a few units here and there. I feel like Wham and Puppy were trying to do the same, but then all of a sudden, the Night Mass was too big.
Yeah, Nightmare's just absolutely incredible. Having so many different group of knights, and the thing is, against knights, you always have to pull more units to defend against them than there are knights attacking you. You can't just pull one spearman for one knight. You can't just pull two spearmen for two knights. You're gonna need to pull more units. So as the game goes on and CSO just building such a large knight mass, you cannot reasonably react to so many raids going on at the same time with enough units.
Yeah, and this was really just the game deciding fight here. You can see that Louis and CSO just continuing to just take this fight under the keep that finished. CSO started that fight, I want to say, with like 31, 33 knights, something around there, ends it with 26. So didn't really lose any. And then they continued the onslaught, continued pushing through, and Wham and Puppy just couldn't deal with the knights.
Here we had the last great fight, and behind this, so many raids going on. You can just tell. Look at the villager count there at the top side. So many villagers just losing their lives. 110, suddenly we're at 100, suddenly we're at 95. It just keeps going down. So many individual groups of knights picking off villagers left, right, front, and center. And that's when the GG ultimately comes in, as not only can they not beat the military mass from Team Elephant, but they also can't keep up in the economy department either.
Yeah, what an exciting start to this series. Exciting game number 1. And we're following that up with the classic Dry Arabia. And we have English and Zushi versus HRE and Delhi.
That is an interesting one. So I would guess we might be seeing some Pro Scout Fast Castle play coming out of Juji, and then English just does the normal, okay, I'm English, I'm gonna provide longbows. And this might be one where you actually see a good usage of Juji as a knight civilization, because they actually do play fairly well as a knight civilization as well.
Yeah, it's they're not always thought about as that fast castle knight civ, but they really do have their prowess in doing it themselves. They can have a really clean timing. They also have a great way of securing up those relics to then help support that knight count. But on the other side, they're going to have to deal with HRE and Delhi, two very, very strong civilization when it comes to team games. We've already seen Delhi, take map control, take sacred sites, and then all of a sudden go up to castle with 15 scholars, getting all the techs, getting all the relics in.
Exactly. I'm really wondering how exactly this is going to be played. I'm guessing Puppy Paw will likely play Juji. I know Wham doesn't like English, but I know Puppy Paw is a China enjoyer, so I could see him play Juji.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to see. It's always exciting to see what style HRE goes for. We saw, I think it was Lucifron went for just the straight up OG fast castle HRE play. They've really developed into a lot more of that infantry feudal civilization because of marching drills. But enough of hypotheticals. We're starting to hear the sounds come in. Game number 2 is starting now.
Look at that. Actually, it's the opposite way around. I know Wham likes to play as knight civilization, so just him being the Juji here tells us that this is going to be a knight-style approach for the Juji's legacy.
Yeah, and we saw the two farms on either side. He'll probably connect that up with the forward mill, but still weird to see that was the choice of the layout and the locations there for the farms.
Yeah, you're getting like one less farm overall, but the farms that you do get are going to be very, very safe around your TC.
Forward berries there from CSO and the Delhi. HRE forward gold as well for
But
their
let's have a wood
side.
line next to it. Like, this is a great Ark and Chapel spot.
Yeah, it really is. He's gonna get, all the nitty gritty resources that you want, with the primary one being it tucked up right next to that wood line.
Wow, I'm not going for the village opening, instead choosing to make a house here. Okay, interesting. There is the play where you start off with your villagers on a straggler tree, then drop off at a supervised mill to get some extra wood in. Having a mill means that long term, you're saving up on a lot of wood. You're only paying 125 wood for population space that's worth 4 houses.
Yeah, it really costs you some extra wood generation, but yeah, definitely gives you some extra tempo down the road. You're not having to consistently drop houses randomly in those middle or earlier points. And it's funny to see both CSO and Louis, they got the scholar, they got their prelate out. So they're very religious and studious on their side. Meanwhile, Puppy and Wham, they don't have any religious units over there.
Yeah, it means that right now, Louis and CSO, oh my god, double the military. Can you believe it?
And it is a
Oh.
mine work play. So we hyped up the chapel location and just throw that right down the drain. It's a mine work play.
Ooh, that's a pretty nice meditation garden spot here coming out from Wham. Single villager going to build that, but that is going to be roughly 30 wood, 48 food, and 25 stone per minute. So a little bit over 100 resource per minute, and high value resource, especially considering that there's going to be the food in there. Does get spotted out by Louis though. He's going to be like, okay, I know where that is. And in theory, they could just park scouts here potentially, or just ignore it.
I wonder how close he was to having that other stone into the mine. If he had been able to drop it back a little bit, how he can potentially get it, but you'd probably be giving up a couple berry bushes.
I think you'd be giving up all the berry bushes because the stone blocks you there at the top side. So you would have to put it to the left of the stone, and then you're not getting any berries.
Yeah, you got to get that food.
Yeah, getting 50 food per minute is so valuable, more than a villager.
And it is the council hall play for the English, but 1TC English can sometimes feel super underwhelming if you move out a little bit too early with that military mass, with that longbow mass, and they get cleaned up, and then you're like, well, I'm not 2TC, you don't have King's Palace, you don't have any extra tempo behind it, and you really kind of feel worthless, and that you really got to rely on your teammate a little bit more. Speaking about relying on the teammate, we're going to see Puppy Paw go drop off some sheep over to Wham, make sure he's able to just stay under that initial mill supervised for quite some time.
All right, age-ups are just now finishing for all of these players. No faith, no big surprise there, so we're going to be seeing some mass scholars coming out soon. Wham, already 3 villagers on gold. That does look like it is going to be a fast castle play from him. On the other hand side, we do see Louis opening up with an archer range, so mass archers? Minework Palace does mean that you're going to be getting a lot of the upgrades in very, very quickly and cheaply as well.
Yeah, and you can actually see it now. He's already, I believe. Nope, I was thinking he had a prelate in queue. Had him swapped. It's just a scholar in queue, but he'll be able to still have a lot of inspiration on his economy. Just have to make an extra prelate or 2 throughout to make sure his wood line gets inspired, his food still gets inspired, and whatnot. We're seeing those resources get hovered now for that meditation gardens. Lovely location there.
Let's not forget, prelates did get buffed recently, so now they're able to supervise for, not supervise, but inspire for a little bit longer. Means that you need less prelates for your villagers in order to be able to have all of them, or rather most of them, inspired most of the time. So it's always an option to add an additional prelate. I think one right now is able to inspire 9 at a time.
Yep, it used to be, I think, 8, now it's 9, so with the amount of eco he has, could definitely invest in another prelate, just from what we're seeing here now with the wood line and with all of the villagers on food. You wouldn't even have to move them out in too far of different spots. But archer number is starting to pump up and pump up quickly, whereas the same thing of his teammates pumping some Gazis. And you want to, Puppy Paw needs to be careful with these longbows to not move out too far, as the Gazi play coming in, you 3-4 Ghazi Raiders can really clean up that longbow mass quick.
Not just that, but these are HRE archers with the minework, so not only do they move fast, they do the same damage right now as the longbows would do, as there aren't any blacksmith upgrades in for them. Wham behind this, trying to go for the pro scout play, also gathering up the resource in order to go for a castle age follow-up now behind this. It's gonna take him a little bit longer, and the army count is starting to climb, but there is a timing behind this. CISO, he's heavily investing into the Ghazi Raiders. Wham, I'm wondering if he can actually, like, get enough knights out in time in order to help his brother out there. Oh, we see one of the one of the scouts. Okay, it does get noticed by Wham. Got a little bit stuck there on the Imperial official when trying to drop off the deer. Charlotte Monastery now coming in. Is he gonna have enough gold axes here to pump knights? That's what I'm wondering. As Team Elephant, as soon as the age up comes in, I think they're gonna move forward onto that gold.
Yeah, they're starting to press forward now. Archer mass, though, is getting scouted out. One archer will get sniped. Gazis did not turn. Instead, Gazis, they're diving the landmark. They see the age up coming through. Age up has to be delayed for the time being. One villager falls. Gazis, though, are starting to get taken out. They're taking up a ton of damage here now. Take down another villager. Is this worth it, though? Ghazi go over to the longbow mass. Archer stepping up. There's more longbows here than archers that are forward.
A lot more. Yeah, a lot more archers. I mean, the idle time is nice and all, but you have to doubt if this is worth it, like, at all. This does not feel worth it for the most part here. Pretty much, like, very few villagers did go down here at the end of it.
I think it was maybe 2 that went down, but the big problem is now you just thin your Ghazi mask. And one of the questions you ask is like, will Wham be able to mass up, enough units in time to, mass up and equalize that Ghazi number? It's like, now the answer is yes, easily. No problem at all. Really good trades, not only from Wham, just jumping inside of his TC, not taking too much damage, but Puppy Paw kited that archer mass the whole time and won the trade significantly in that one too.
Yeah, behind this though, for the moment, like 3 sacred sites are about to be captured up here. So at least the sacred sites have been taken. And I think if the Ghazi go back here to the forward, like the longbows are pretty exposed here still for the time being. Instead, the decap looks to be coming in.
Ghazis, I'm not sure where they are. Shows 8 or so. I think they might be burning the meditation gardens, trying to, take away some of those passive free resources that Wham's generating for himself.
At least a little bit of denial there, but already third night about to be coming out here for Wham. His economy is looking very, very decent behind all of this.
Meditation gardens did not even get taken down to half health, those Ghazi. I mean, the thing about the meditation gardens, it always feels so bad when you're dealing with it, because you're like, oh, just send a couple units there. It's like, then you're idling out those units, and they can be providing a lot more value elsewhere. When Puppy and Wham see 10 Ghazis burning down a meditation gardens, they're like, okay, sweet. We know where the majority of the mass is on the other side.
Yeah. Behind this, Wham still out on the prowl for more of those deer out on the map, getting the pro scouts in. So he's still gonna have a very, very good amount of food income here for the foreseeable future.
Now Lancer's going to be starting to roam, going to be starting to raid. And this is really where now CSO and Louis, they don't have that bigger mass that they could have had. A lot of times you'll see that fast castle play happen, and the side of Delhi and HRE that plays Feudal, they'll be up 30, 40 units. Right now, they're barely eking out, we'll call it 15 military lead here.
Yeah, this is looking rough. A very big longbow mass now going forward. Louis is definitely going to lose that one villager forward here. Does at least notify him. He just wants to send more villagers out to gold. Yeah, that is not something that he can really do right now. Decap probably about to be coming in. CSO could potentially try to deny that, but trades against the knights, definitely not something that you want to consistently do.
No, not by any means. Louis starting to move further forward with his army, but again, just like English has that vulnerable army, CSO's isn't as vulnerable because it has some spears with it. But when we're talking Castle Age Lancers, those spear numbers can get thinned out so quickly with Puppy Paul's longbows. If the head-on engagements happen, I think the Canadian bros should just be able to close this one out pretty effectively.
Next fight definitely going to be decisive here, I feel like. Still, knight number is climbing. Don't think we get Dali horses in yet.
Trying
That
to
is
just wait.
triple stable, one even with supervision.
Oh. Longbows starting to step up, starting to now snipe down those archers. More importantly, they need to focus on the spears, and then the fight becomes very easy for Team Canada.
Yeah, the longbows, they really need to get caught out of position here for Team Elephant if they want to like win a decisive fight here. Right now, there's a lot of units out on the field, but you gotta get onto the longbows with the Ghazi Raiders for this fight to go anywhere productive.
Yep. And now that Louis moved forward with that immobile mass, you can see Wham, he might just run past and go towards the economy, go towards the base with that many Lancers, as there's going to be nothing easy for two feudal age players to clean that up with.
Knights are moving forward, could be trying to find some villagers there from CSO in the middle of the map. Between the base of Louis and CSO, Shaolin Monk gets found out, but yeah, you can't really take that fight there right now. Spearman should be able to at least get one pick off there. One knight does go down.
One knight goes
He's able
down.
to pick a villager.
Two villagers fall. Able to continue to run through, and Louis got bigger problems. Those knights are running directly towards the mass he just ran away with. The prelate's directing him to more villagers, and now he sees it. Has to run by it, but has information now that Louis' economy is a little bit running ragged.
Yeah, definitely ragged here at the moment. Team Elephant, they do have a military lead, but wham, he's just pumping out more and more knights, 4 more in queue. Still has so many going for him. Longbow mass in the middle though. Are the Ghazi there? Are the archers there? We see the archers. What about the Ghazi Raiders? Nope, Ghazi don't decide to go for the engagement. Instead, we see the knights coming in.
And the spear's not quite in position. There's a smaller mass here, but not the main bigger mass. Have to move on back, and wham, taking the fight, taking down spears.
Definitely most important here right now. Still so many longbows out as well for Puppy Paw. About to reach the mass now. Compound of Defender is about to come in. Ghazi Raiders don't take the greatest engagement there. A lot go down.
And now the compound's trying to come up, like you said, as the armies are converging towards the front sides of the base. Ghazi Raiders trying to pull on back. Longbow mass has stayed very together, very healthy. 57 longbows.
Against 28 archers. Now, this army, you compare one to the other, you're pretty certain which one is going to come out on top here. And now they're going to start pushing it into the base of CSO. Puppy Paw behind this, also starting to bank up some resource for potential Castle Age play. Scholar is about to try and come out, trying to get some relics here potentially, but no, are getting picked apart first. Definitely need to have them alive here in order to get the upgrades in. You just got Castle Age, now you need to get the upgrades in time.
Yeah,
and could definitely help him here, but no villagers on gold.
Team Canada hearing that age up come through, that is their trigger point to go, all right, time to dive the base, and dive the base they do, burning down the TC. Longbows kiting forward, continually taking down every unit that steps into their mass, and the Lancers are just going to burn CSO's TC to the ground.
And wham, just a single knight looks to go for the berries at the bottom side of CSO space as well. Just trying to run around, trying to find potential resources where his opponent's on. And is ultimately going to be able to find some.
Trying to stay in between the two bases. There were a few spears there. Spears should get cleaned up, but gives the villagers enough time, enough space for a little bit. But there was another knight or two there. I think by the time we look back, CSO's losing that whole mass. In the meantime, Puppy aging up. He did click the white tower. And yeah, he changed it over to the King's Palace. Ghazi's, though, diving the base on the other side.
Yeah, diving the base, but it's an English base at the end of the day, not something that you really want to dive, I feel like, at this point in time. Now, villager losses are starting to add up. 103 to 84 economy now for Elephant up against Team Canada. And still more knights streaming across the map. And these knights with the +2 Pierce Armor, it's so tough to take them down. Even the TC fire doesn't really do a lot here.
Oof.
More villagers getting pinned.
No. More villagers just not knowing where to run, not knowing where to go that is safe for them. Wham is up to 31 Lancers now.
Yeah, big military. Some of them weak, granted that, but doesn't feel like just them being weak is going to be enough here.
No, not by any means. Not looking when CSO. He's got 12 Ghazis. He's got 5 Lancers himself, and both of their economies are just struggling.
Yeah, there needed to be an elephant coming out. Like, war elephants would be able to enable Team Elephant to take a fight here, but there's just not enough resources for CSO to start making them. Said he's got to rely on knights, but that doesn't feel good when your opponent's already 30 knights ahead of you.
And even worse is now these longbows get veteran upgraded. They get +2 range damage. And now the longbows, with 81 longbows, you're one-shotting Lancers probably.
Yeah, just about. You're going to be able to do great damage against them either way. Forward outpost now coming in as well for Puppy Paw, so he's going to be able to have that aura, that network of castles, giving him even more attack speed on 80 longbowmen. Mount Lu Academy, so Yuan Dynasty about to come in for Wham, so he's going to be able to transition over to Pagodas behind all of that.
Yeah, Pagodas, as we just see a third relic get dropped in that Shaolin Monastery. Puppy Paw taking down a boar.
Peppering it with some arrows. Sacred Site getting recaptured by CSO.
Oh, decent little raid on the backside here from CSO. It's still it's still that same Ghazi mass, but that's slowly been thinned out further and further. He's diving English town centers. I want to say there were 12 to 15 a little bit ago. Now that Ghazi number is down to 5 and even still continuing to fall.
Yeah, the crossbows and the TC peppering it with arrows. I don't think these are veteran Ghazis as well. There are only 6 scholars at the moment for CSO, so upgrades aren't going to be coming in that quickly for him right now.
I think Wham and Puppy waited for their upgrades. They might have their fight they want to take now, the fight they want to end it now, and
GG
right
comes in.
as we say that, GG comes in. It will be a tied up series, and that was just a greatly executed game by Team Canada. They just overall had that mass, were able to defend the push. CSO and Louis, I feel like, overstepped a little bit with their first push when Wham was going up to Castle.
Yeah, maybe I'm not sure what exactly happened there for Louis. He just wasn't able to get enough archers out. HRE should typically be able to outmass English. That just didn't happen here. He had less archers, and in the end, they weren't able to combine the push onto Wham there. The first push in general, it looked good for Team Elephant. They had a lot of military, but they just threw so many units away there, trying to idle out the age up a little bit when they didn't have all the necessary components to really sustain that dive into the base of Wham.
Yeah, I felt like it was a really disjointed fight. You had the archers trying to fight the longbows, which there were more longbows, so you're taking a losing fight there. The Ghazis, instead of coming to help and take down a counter unit, take down all the longbows, and then, fight 2v1, they decided to dive TCs, and this was early on when the Ghazi number isn't in double digits, so they actually got taken down pretty quickly, but great way to stabilize after that. Not too much losses from Canada, and then we just saw the Lancer number climb and continue to climb and become too easy to end the game there from Wham.
Indeed.
But now, with game number 2 coming to a close, we're going to see what is the next land map that we were on, and there will be some water.
Yeah, and it's literally the closest we can get to real water here. We're a little, a little bit light on this map, but you know, I want to look back at this series a little bit because I feel like there was a really big recalibration between game 1 and 2 Crackety, right? Like in game 1, I almost feel like we saw that infamous aim for the mid game, wall up, chill in a weird map as well, Borderland of all places. But this Canada in game 2 seems a lot more promising, right? Like I feel like we're seeing a pattern here frequently with all these series, which is actually being aggressive, being present is very much rewarded.
Yeah, I mean, this one, I feel like there was a decisive game plan. Get Juji, get him to knights, and just have him spam knights throughout the entire time. And there was a similar game plan from Team Kozak Pasan in the previous set. However, in that one, I think Lucifron, or was it Vortex who went for the English? He just got too many economic upgrades in and wasn't able to keep up with the longbow mass. In this one, Puppy Paw just pumped out longbows nonstop, and he was able to hold the push. If there were less longbows, like a lot less longbows out there at that point in time, that could have been a lot more deadly for Wham. But in the end, had enough longbows, managed to defend his ally, and then the Nightmask just kept scaling on and on and on.
Does that feel like we're going to maybe see that kind of momentum focus continue here in game number 3, Dabston? Like looking at the draft, it feels like you could argue Roos H3 can be greedy, but you know, I think H3 at least has been quite present in a lot of the games we've been seeing so far.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We see the same combo that CSO and Louis just played. So we have Wham and Puppy say, all right, yeah, wait, let me show you how it's done here. We'll let the big boys play. And so they're ready to turn this right back around, going down 0-1, and they're ready to just finish this one on up, get their foot on ahead on a level note, and then try to close it on out on the game number 4.
The thing I was kind of thinking about here, Crackety, is like, I don't know, Ottomans, we aren't seeing them too frequently, but I feel like they're almost always winning. It's an interesting thing because in 1v1s right now, Ottomans kind of feel like the biggest meme, but there seems to be something about these team environments.
I think not just in team games. Overall, Ottoman in certain situations are like very underappreciated. Um, Overall, they got a really interesting mechanic change with the way Janissaries have changed overall as a unit that no longer gets counted by anything range, but only gets counted by archers from range. So now
Yeah.
they're actually in a pretty decent position overall to be like your bread and butter backline, even when your opponent has crossbows.
Mm. I think the challenge is like in the hyper late game still though, right? Because I think that's where they took a DPS hit really compared to all the other gunners at the moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's one where all the other gunners, I think all the hand cannoneers got a 3 damage upgrade to
Yep.
every single civ. Janissaries still feel like that one that, yeah, they're great against Cav, but they're not that unit that you're like just mass only Jans. You really feel like you need something else with them.
Look, masterful strategy, just force a Feudal Age for 30 minutes and then get your Great Bombard and you win the game, right? Like, I've mastered it, Crackety. I mean, it is a bit weird because there's a lot that's still underexplored with all these new Vizier options. Some of them do feel a little bit weird, though. I've talked to a few players, and like Pax Ottomana, for example, sounds OP until you actually do the maths. And then it feels like one of the biggest memes in AoE4.
Yeah, there's still like the main Vizier points, right? That you kind of always want to get. And some that got combined as well. So the one that boosts up your production and the one that allows you to make other units like knights and janissaries as well from your military schools. These are still like obviously like you go to Vizier points that you want to go for. Also, the one that gives you like an additional 10 sheep at the beginning, 2,000 food, nothing to sneeze at. On top of that, 15% bonus gather rate on gold. Very good Vizier points still in there. And Ottomans, they do definitely have their spot in the game.
Delicious one as well, because I remember they actually buffed it after they nerfed the sheep, right, to actually balance it out, and realizing the Ottomans are maybe having a little bit of a sad time. But folks, just a reminder, this is our second semi-finals. We have a look at the brackets, we can see how things have painted out so far today, because a really big surprise happened in that first series. If you didn't catch it, I recommend going and checking the VODs or waiting for it to appear on YouTube, because we did see an incredible performance out of Free Data to overcome Lucifron and Vortex. Lucifron and Vortex, who prior to that, overcame Beastie and Marine Lord. That's right. Like, if anyone's going to come in here in the next few hours, go, when's Marine Lord play? When's Beastie play? When's Vortex play? They've all had their play, all right? The limelight, or the spotlight rather, has shifted. We have got new generations coming through. Some of them known Canadians, just really partying up recently in S tier tournaments. But We've been seeing it. We've been saying it for a while, Dabston. You know, in the East, there isn't just the CIS threat with likes of Anatan now raising up, but Louis MT and CSO have always been creeping there, and I think they're proving that in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, they really feel like that comfort zone. I feel like with a lot of the up and coming players, let's pick on Anatan early on. There was a time when Anatan first kind of was getting his rise, and it was like he's going to make 100 units and he's just going to dive your base. Like that was what he did every time. Now he actually has all the different kind of tools in his toolkit. That's kind of how the same thing over here from Louis and CSO both, where they don't just play one type of game. It's not like all boom up and macro, that's all they do, or all they feudal all in. It's you got to worry about a lot of different things.
I think it's also the complementing nature of those two, right? Like obviously we've seen a few games from Scarlet Devil in this tournament, Crackety, but at the core, it's Team Elephant. It's Louis MT, it's CSO. And I think something that's really impressed me is Louis MT for a long time kind of got all of the attention, but CSO has proven prominent. And I think there's that beautiful partnership of CSO almost like a Vortex and Louis MT almost more like a Luciferon, right? One's more your all-in guy and one's more your calculated playing for that later phase.
Yeah, CISO by no means like lesser player I want to say than LuMT. Like he's up there. He's up there. There have been I recall like the War Chief clubs or other tournaments where CISO even took down players like Marine Lord, so in multiple games. And he's a really like impressive player. We just don't see a lot of him. He usually hides behind like different accounts or mostly plays team games. But when he plays, he really shows up to play.
And, it might seem like I'm focusing a lot on the elephant people here, folks, but that's because I've already blowed enough smoke up the Canadians' asses for them to send TP signals to Native Americans, all right? We know Puppy Paw. We know Wham. We know their capability. Puppy Paw, who basically wins practically every single week he turns up for these weeklies at start. Wham, who has basically been always the bridesmaid, never the bride for practically every single week of those. They are making back-to-backs every single time, and we're going to see if they can do it here, because we are about to split the difference. A best of 5, only 2 more points to win. Will it be Team Elephant, or will it be the Canadians with a sprinkling of America? Let's get to it as we break the tie with Himiyama.
All right, serious tie it up. Here we go. Game number 3. Team Elephant versus Team Canada on Himiyama.
Yep. Don't see any villagers moving out to take the water. It's more going to be Louis that's going to go for a outpost rush, I would assume, and Wham going to be ready to defend any sort of outpost rush and any sort of early spears that are going to be coming with his own HRE spears.
HRE spears that do walk quite a bit faster than your average spearman, walking all the way. Wait, where is he going? Huh. He doesn't have the scouted yet, so he's probably just clicked through the fog of war.
Yeah, he'll figure it out. He's gonna figure it out. They're gonna slowly scout, and on the way across, he might change up that waypoint marker to where it needs to be. Louis trying to get some good information with his con. And this is one where the players, they might have a strategy in mind, but they still need to react to anything they might see and change up the strategies. If one was going for water, might be a whole different game plan here, but hard to go drop a dock when you got spears from both sides on the map.
Yeah, I'm right now on those trailer trees, trying to get more wood in for those spearmen that are coming out. LuMT, can we take a look at his base? There's no spearman yet in queue for him. Did he make a barracks? He did make a barracks, but this is a very good spot for him overall on the map. He has gold on the opposite side of his TC. That's a little bit unfortunate, but definitely a nice back goal to defend for sure.
Yeah, I feel like usually with these like Dark Age Spear Wars, if it goes to one side or if Mongols ends up losing it, they either lose gold or they lose the Uvu. With this location, it's going to be harder to actually get on over to that gold and actually get it fully denied for the time being. But Louis just going to be able to play that defensive game for the time being because he doesn't have to spend full resources for his spears. He's getting them doubled up.
Yeah. On top of that, Louis, he's kind of stopped gathering wood right now. So he's only gathered up enough wood to go for like 3 more spearman patches. we are going to see a Kremlin coming out here from CSO in a very good spot. Protects the wood line, protects double gold and a stone mine. So maybe we could be seeing like a 2TC ruse play coming in here. Wham! With his opening, it's already pretty much guaranteed that he isn't going to go for any sort of like fast castle age build here this game.
Yep. We see some sheep getting dropped off there with the HRE player, Puppy's Deli. He does not, doesn't need them as much. Kremlin location, like you said, is a lovely one, albeit it's kind of on the back side of the base, but it's in between him and Louis too. It's going to provide a lot of vision in between their bases where Puppy and Wham might attack.
Wham trying to potentially get some of the... Oh, he's killing the sheep. Sheep will go down. So that's 400 food just sitting there, dead on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, take out what you can. If you can't take out the scout, go ahead and take out the sheep.
A-Jump has now come in. Kremlin did get completed.
Khan just being annoying, just sitting there hitting the villagers on the wood line. It does slowly damage them, but really what it does is it just causes distraction, causes pings, causes you to lose a little bit of APM.
Yeah, just always something that you got to react to. Dome of Faith now coming in. Wham hasn't clicked his own H-up yet. Actually, hasn't even been on to gold yet. It's only just now moving out, and Deerstone's coming in. That's heavy delay.
Heavy delay indeed. He has 9 spears out compared to Louis, who only has 5. Really only double produced them for the most part. I think he might have lost a batch of 2. And he's helping push Deer on into the Kremlin with the spears that he does have.
Yeah, behind this. I mean, no stone income at the moment for CISO, so it doesn't look like it's going to be a 2TC play. Instead, just going to lure the deer in manually here. Wham is going to spot this out. Might potentially try and hit some of those deer, get them denied. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case either. And we are seeing a stable come in, so maybe a Night Roost play here.
Good old fishing has begun for Wham in the center here. First fishing boat pops on out. Has more than enough spears that he feels comfortable with investing on into that. Speaking of spears, Louis Spears finally taking down the deer that he pushed in. Close enough to the Kremlin. He's like, I've done my job. Let me move back now to where I need to be.
The other side, Wham doing the same thing.
How far? Do you think he's going to push this all the way to this base?
Yeah, that's the far deer, and he's pushing them all the way across the map. Wait, wait a second. Were these the close deer from Puppy Paws? He's just stealing his brother's close deer spot.
I think he is. And I heard some people ask, it's like, oh, do you think deer should have like a limited range for where they should be leashed? I'm like, I'm all good with this. Let them use their APM to push the deer all the way across the map. Let it happen. The opponents can clearly counter it out if they wanted to, if they had the information on it. And so, you know, no need to put some sort of leash range.
Yeah. Gazi Raiders are coming out, but Spearmen from Louis aren't going to be well equipped to deal with that. Asking myself what the follow-up here is going to be from Louis. Like, where does he want to go in this game? He's got some Spearmen out at the moment. He's got a lot of villagers on wood, so I would assume it's just going to be like an archer transition now. I could also see him maybe at a market and just get some sneak trade going.
Yeah, I feel like trade's been something that we've talked about a few times today, and it's something that I feel like even the high elo players don't really decide to go into trade until like way later stages of the game where it's already like walled off and already set up for the most part. Even if, you know, you have a Mongol player, it just still doesn't feel like it's ever really a main focus.
Yeah, Wham, now finally 7 minutes into the game, gets his own Feudal age in. Chip probably haven't had enough time yet to pay off for themselves the fishing ships there, but are going to slowly start doing so. And there's a lot of food in the middle to be gained. Wham Walt's behind this as well, coming in.
Khan trying to kite out a spearman using that arrow, but doesn't want to run on into the TC. once these walls come through, Wham's going to be feeling a lot better about all of that economy. Can kind of just stay closer to that center of the map, saves up some back berries, might actually move out to some back boar if he wants to as well.
Yeah, behind this, also looking at CSO's game plan, he's just continuing to mass up knights at the moment. We already reached that point in the game where ideally Puppy Paw already has scholars out onto these sacred sites and starts capturing them up. Hasn't happened yet, and Louis explosively already up to 11 archers now.
Yeah, numbers building fast, climbing very, very quickly. Probably using some double production as well, being on top of that Uvu. And so these military numbers are starting to climb fast for both of these teams now.
Indeed, they are. Still more scholars coming in. First sacred site just now, about to be tapped. But that is something that Louis can absolutely deny. He's got a composition of both spearmen and archers, and Puppy Paw right now only has the Ghazi Raiders. We're now getting an attack ship in the middle. Looks like there's some units from Louis that are trying to... Yeah, he managed to actually kill 2 fishing ships there. So able to get some good damage in.
Yes, indeed. Spears in good position. CSO's knights have to run on away, but Louis is here in reinforcements. Outpost does finish for Wham, but there's a big army knocking on the doorstep here from Louis. Won't be able to gather those deer too easily.
Yeah, definitely not. But the outpost, that's a threat. That's not something that you can take down immediately, at least not before you get any blacksmith upgrades in. It looks like there weren't quite enough units from Louis in order to decap that sacred site. Could go for it again. Still has 4 spearmen inside of his base if he wanted to.
A little proxy blacksmith action going. It's not too far away from the base.
Gotta do whatever you gotta do. A little bit of a migration going on right now.
Yeah, those
That's the
initial
first
wood
line
lines.
out.
Yeah, initial wood line from Wham's very small, so having to move out and forward, kind of a barren map here when you see the mini map here as far as some of those wood lines go.
Spearman getting some nice pickoffs there. Potentially does have enough in order to take the fight. Knights there now as well. And a scholar gets picked off there just before he reaches that sacred site. First one does get captured up though.
And Ghazi's still circling from Puppy Paw, wants to try to find somewhere to do some damage, somewhere to do some raiding or picking off units every so often. Is pushed off the berries though. And that's not just a few vills on those berries. That was like 25 villagers. That's so much of Puppy Paw's economy. And CSO and Louis see that, spot it out, and so they are deciding to attack that spot together.
Yeah, now Wham also moving over to that. Does have the archery mobility, so isn't going to take him too long in order to try and get over there. Behind this, though, Archer Mass is looking very, very much in favor for Louis compared to what Wham has out on the field.
Yeah, I feel like Wham's kind of getting baited. I was about to say baited and make him too many spearmen, but the spearman number is still favoring Louis MT as well. It's just kind of...
Great catch!
Oh,
3 knights going down.
3 knights going down, and some damage on the other one just shows you that movement speed of Ghazi's and the scout to follow up in 2. Puppy Paw, Ghazi numbers looking very, very scary.
This is a horseman, by the way. Scary horseman. Very scary type of horseman there. With the Ghazi Raiders. Up to 23 now, doubling the count of CSO's knights. There's still a lot of deer in front of CSO's Kremlin that he can always move on to if he needs to. Archer count is starting to climb more and more over on Wham's side now as well. He's added in his 4th archery range, has lots of prelates, inspiring those villagers on the wood line.
Yeah, we also kind of talked about Delhi earlier in the other series where we said, hey, you know, that scholar number starts climbing, and then all of a sudden they go castle and have so much free tech, free res that they're able to get in the first couple minutes of Castle Age. That Puppy's kind of in that scenario already. He's got 1,400 food in the bank. He doesn't have the typical gold income from those sacred sites, so might just maybe trade off some of that or just start, 21 on the gold.
Yeah,
He's
21, yeah.
There it is. Puppy, he wants to go up to castle.
10 scholars, surely that's enough. Gets a couple more Ghazi Raiders in queue as well. but the next drop-off should be enough in order to propel him up to Castle Age then.
Has like 7 deer carcasses, as Cal's showing us, under the TC if need be. So while he was out on those berries, it's more of take the berries while he can now and save the deer for later.
Exactly, that's what it's looking like. Puppypaw now has the resources needed for the age up, and there we go. House of Learning is going to be coming in.
Over on the backside of the base, Wham's moving across to protect that up, make sure there's no timing push. As we know how players are, they hear castle, they say time to attack now, especially when it takes some time for those deli upgrades to come through.
He might need to extend the Wi-Fi network for that House of Learning. Villagers on gold get spotted out, now they know what's going on. They have to know what's going on. When you see that many villagers for deli on gold, you know, okay, this deli, he wants the age up.
Maybe they don't know that he's already aging up, though. Maybe thinking that he's trying to get the gold to age up, but now they know for sure Puppypaw has reached the castle age. Tech should be coming through. Hard to get all those techs clicked when you need to be micro, when you need to be fighting here. As the base is starting to get dove, CSO and Louis, they are taking this fight. Knights waiting for the Gazis to dive, making sure they aren't diving on top of that archer backline that Louis has built up.
Elephant already in queue here. And coming up very, very shortly as well. Once that elephant comes out, oh, that's going to be dangerous. Elephant about to hop out. 3, 2, 1. There he is.
Great location to jump out right on top of the Knights. Does have a ton of spears over in that location to circle it, but that elephant just so tanky. Puppypaw and Wham also have the benefit of TC fire helping them as well. Archers just moving on the backside, and this looks like a good fight, a good hold from Puppy and Wham.
Yeah, the army count right now is just disappearing for CSO and Louis. 58 to 87. Elephant still more than half HP. Can't snipe that one out with the archers. Spearman mass completely gone. Only 3 spearmen remaining. Knights all battered up and weak, and that is enough health remaining for them so that the Ghazi Raiders can just start picking them off now. Mahout's already in? It's the Wi-Fi network. The House of Learning is its own Wi-Fi network. He's getting the upgrades in.
Those upgrades come through so fast. Once that's through, it's going to be so hard for CSO and Louis to stop this push. They're lacking the numbers. They're lacking the age as well. High Trade House starting to be built. And by starting to be built, villagers are moving over to where he wants to build it.
Yeah, it's still going to be a while until that comes in behind this. I mean, it's kind of crazy how Puppypaw, he's got 10 scholars. 2 of them, I believe. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh, it still took out like 3 knights before it died at that low of health.
It was at half HP. It was at half HP. Well, even less than half HP. And took 3 knights down while 6 were attacking it. Man, oh man. But behind this, like, it's so crazy. Think about that. It takes you 90 seconds to research Castle Age upgrades. Like, 2 of the scholars weren't even inside of a monastery. They were inside of production buildings.
Scouts still bringing back deer this whole entire time, just consistently being that great food resource for Puppy and Wham both. And Puppy going to be able to secure up a couple more night kills with that Ghazi Raider movement speed.
CSO not out yet, though. Castle Age has just now been reached. Knights are going to be able to get upgraded.
And speaking of castle, Wham on his way up also, and he has the most military mass out on the field, so we'll be able to get some veteran age upgrades for that spear mass, for that archer mass that he has.
Yeah, but there's some villagers here that could get caught out. No movement speed arrow, though. Army from Wham gets found out here, though. These are no longer early knights. They're upgraded. They could, in theory, take some better fights. But they're all low HP. You kind of don't want to use them right now to take fights.
Oh, and now they're starting to get sniped out by those archers. Like you said, they're lower health, so if any of those low health knights step up, they will get cleaned on up. Good brace here that we see from Louis MT, forcing an attempted raid on away. But Regnant's about to finish, and just as we say that, the curl tie gets started.
Just a couple of Ghazi Raiders over here get spotted out, but the Knights once again diving onto the wood line from Wham. Wham, he still has 20 spearmen and 33 archers. If you upgrade all of these units, it's going to be pretty rough to deal with that curl tie behind this. Going up, is it going to be enough? Does Wham even have the upgrades coming in right away? Knights getting some nice picks here.
Yeah, good spot out onto the wood line. There is a prelate there, so not only will we see some attempted villager picks, all those vills that didn't die though will get healed up and inspired up again.
Still a good amount of knights behind this from CSO, just going for these raids, being so pesky and annoying here to his opponent, makes it very, very difficult for Puppy Paw and Wham. They had the age advantage now, they got the tech advantage, but they're still being kept inside of the base, not being allowed to dive out right now.
Yeah, really, really good job by Team Elephant. It felt like that after that initial dive at Puppy Paw's base after Castle Age, it felt like it was like all but over, but Puppy and Wham didn't push after it. They kind of settled on in, dug in their heels, and it allowed CSO and Louis to just keep up this pressure.
Yeah, CSO, he's trying to find additional economy here that he can start to punish. Issue is there isn't really anything to punish right now. Most of Puppy Paw's economy is still under TC thanks to that Pro Scouts play. Push is coming in right now, but there's no veterancy yet. Not even really close to being on the way. Kurltai is somewhere completely else. This is going to be an interesting fight. Has the tools to deal with the spearmen, but the archers from
Archer's
both sides.
out of position. Knight's able to dive right on top of the archers. There's a few spearmen chasing that way. A knight has come out in reinforcements though, so we'll have some good reinforcing units to dive on this fight. And I feel like Wham just won this fight 1v2.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it did. Knights are going to have to back away, but Louis, he lost this entire archer mass. If he hasn't done so, might as well just cancel the veterancy upgrade on the archers, as he's just lost most of them. Oh no, it's going through.
And the Knights basically got cleaned on up from CSO. The army mass from Louis basically got full cleaned up. He's the infantry mass. He's the one that's supposed to have 40, 50, 60 units out. He's just dropped to 15.
Yeah, 36 to 72 military now. And this looks like Team Canada is thoroughly in the lead now in this situation here. Archers now with the curl tie buff. Trying to get some pickoffs here, but it's a lot of knights. Up to 21 knights now. Puppy Paw, he's rivaling the knight count from CSO. While Wham still has 43 military to 17 on the field.
Yeah, and the big problem for Louis is he's massing Spear Archer, but there's just too many knights to deal with for Spear Archer. He's got 8 spears, and you just said 20 plus knights out? Like, how can 8 spears deal with that? He needs crossbows as well, but then he loses the Archer battle, because then Wham can just A-move again.
Good pick up over here, but still, CISO has to be very, very careful. Oh my god, full upgrades in already. And it's oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep. No comment.
Yep. Deli and just Deli doing Deli things. Puppy has enough of a Lancer mass to just go in this game, it seems like. Has scholars behind this, has his brother behind this to help home.
The Scholar Q!
8.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, give the relics over to your brother. He's HRA. He's gonna take them.
And the big question is what is going to be the deciding play here in this game? When is Wham and Puppy, when are they going to pull this trigger to go for the game ender? Or maybe it's going to be Team Elephant going for it here. You can see the armies trying to group together towards that north side. Might be going for a dive onto Puppy Paw's base. Kurltai rolling that way as well.
Kurltai is gonna make this a lot more dangerous. I'm looking around, I'm not sure, does Puppy Paw even have keeps? He went aggressively on stone multiple times here this game. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's already like some keeps coming up, maybe on the gold in the back, someplace like that. Yep. Indeed, there is a keep. Wi-Fi network has been added as well, so village fortresses is gonna be coming in. Relics getting denied for CSO here by Puppy Paw.
But Puppy Paw, he's got an army knocking on the doorstep. His whole knight mass is forward, and he's got a knight mass and a spear archer mass on the front side of his base. But
and he can just hop inside the.
I was about to say, has a bunch of houses to jump into.
Yeah, that's fair, right? Just go in the house. You'll be fine. It has additional 400 HP, and you can get fire armor on them as well with the keep upgrade.
Village fortresses almost done out of the keep. Wham gonna constantly be able to pick units as CSO and Louis run on away because he has those marching drills. Lancers come around from Puppy Paw. Fight being taken. Team Canada wants this fight. They're happy to take this fight. Curl Tide just gets set up a little bit late. By the time it's set up, Louis, he doesn't have units here anymore. They're all dead. They're all gone. It's just the Knights from CSO. Is it going to be enough? Crossbows on the backside from Wham. There's still spears here. And CSO and Louis, they look like they just got to split their armies and try to go for some raiding, try to just do something different to allow them some more time.
Man, there's so many units and keeps and whatnot. And whenever a fight comes in, Puppy Paw, if he's got a house there, he can secure his villagers inside of them and shoot out there as well at the same time. It's just not really feasible at this point in time to try and get villager kills over on Puppy Paw's side. They gotta diminish the army from Wham. Wham is the one right now that is carrying this game with the infantry unit mass. If it's just CSO on Puppy Paw, I think CSO is in a really good spot night-wise since he's already got Boyer's Fortitude as well.
I mean, my problem is,
Overall,
again, is I feel like we're at a standpoint again where CSO and Louis could dive Wham's army together and Wham would still win the fight or get close to winning the fight just because of how much of a mass he has.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Villagers getting found out for the first time, I feel like, in 5 minutes.
And not even going to be able to connect on those villagers. There was a full night mass chasing him. CSO knows that if he dives villagers, he will lose knights. And that's exactly what you see there is, you know, trying to split off some and they get taken on out.
Still, crossbows, I mean, they're only just now... Okay, so Swabia is coming in now as well. All right. Imperial Age from the HRE now, so economy is going to be booming as well behind all of this. Knights, though, looking good here with the aura as well. The Saint's Blessing. A couple of them were quite low HP, though, and there are just more Knights from Puppy Paw. Pillaging as well, so +3 damage on them. Not a fight that you can really take in the end, and CSO is going to have to retreat here for the time being.
Yeah, and once Palace of Swabia finishes, that's kind of one of those that, like, if you're CSO and Louis, you're like, we're still keeping up our tempo. You know, they're still kind of feeling like they're the aggressor. They obviously don't have this god vision that we have. But once Swabia finishes and you're in the position that you've been in, you're like, how? What? Like, oh my gosh. So great circle around by Puppy Paw. Basically not allowing CSO to get out with that whole entire night mass. That's 10 knights down the drain.
Yeah. Behind this, Louis still trying to get some damage, and CSO still trying to get these raids, and Imperial Age now coming in. Curl type forward deployed. I mean, I guess Louis can get some bounty here if he starts burning some buildings.
He can try.
And the
Quick
quick
wall
wall
comes in from Wham, trying to just make sure that those knights run under more keep fire, run under more reinforcements. There's only a few knights left from CSO. I feel like he was at 30 or so a little bit ago. Now he's down to 16. Puppy Paw up at 36.
Oh man, this is just looking absolutely horrendous right now for Team Elephant. And now they're just gonna regroup and take down Louis' army behind that. Louis, he can't take this fight. He's got a lot of military, 86 military units, but Wham just has more. Over 100 military on the field.
Yep, Curl Tide just starting to be burnt down. Wham is headed on over there with his mass, and Team Canada yet again ready to take another fight, and another fight that they should win substantially here.
Mangonels.
No,
they're gonna
Mangonels left out to dry.
Oh no, and the Curl Tide's getting blocked by the Rams. Or not being deployed overall.
Outposts being burnt, so the sprinkle emplacements that were invested into worthless. Next outpost burnt, losing more and more vision, losing more and more map control and information. And this is where the onslaught will just continue. Rams getting taken down. Puppy's gonna head to the base with that many Lancers.
Louis, he still has a large army, but just not able to make use of it at the moment. Just the mobility from the HRE means wherever he goes, HRE can help if it's just too much army for Puppy Paw to deal with. Still, there's like a lot of night raids going on. It's just not enough damage that comes in. We look at the villager count, just not going down.
Yeah, we see the CSO, he'll pick up 1, 2, 3 villagers, but then you have to keep in mind, Puppy, all his keeps that he has now are producing villagers. That's also damage that those knights will take running past those keeps, so it just slowly all starts adding up. And now is the typical Mongol problem in team games. We see it a lot in FFAs too. You don't have a lot of defensive capabilities. You don't have walls. You see that full pasture boom. You don't see a bunch of outposts around the TC, so not much room for the villagers to hide and not much safety to go to.
Yeah, CSO is running back, to try and help his allies, Louis here, but we look at the military count. Not only is the count lower, but also the quality. Imperial Age units are there for Wham behind this. Paskaya Tower now coming in for CSO, trying to protect his farms with it. It's gonna come on in time, maybe. More units getting pulled towards it.
All the armies getting pulled towards that Spassky. It's about halfway done. More villagers being pulled.
Oh no. Oh no, it's being seen.
Now gets
it's getting spotted.
Knights are headed that way. The Spassky Tower will go up, but at what cost here? Knights get a circle. A couple extra attacks. All the villagers just don't even jump inside. Only 11.
Good couple of villagers will get taken down, but Spaskaya will go up, so the farming economy is going to be safe here for the moment. CSO with that also reached Imperial. Some units actually getting found here from Wham. These could be picked off by the archers from Louis. Louis not going towards it though. This is dangerous, this is very dangerous. Takes a fight, but the spearman, that's not really where you want to use him right now. Attack speed arrow comes in.
And remember, Wham, he's Imperial Age during this fight, so he should have some extra upgrades on through, extra capabilities during this.
Oh,
a quick wall!
What a wall off!
The thing is in this, I was about to say, in this short of a choke point though, only like 2 or 3 units actually get to attack, so it's kind of even fights, even though Puppy's outnumbered.
Man, that's kind of crazy, that wall coming in. And Wham actually loses a significant amount of his military here.
Yeah, still able to continually kite on out, but Louis' military mass has stayed very, very healthy, very numerous as well. The spears is really what has gotten thinned out the most. There's only about 15 or so left. So Puppy Paw now might be able to run a little bit more rampant with those Lancers and with the elephant mass that he's been transitioning over into.
Yeah, we're seeing 5 tower elephants coming in here now behind this, so that is a significant amount of units. Ranged units aren't going to be able to cut it. These crossbows won't really do any damage against them. Granted, with the curl time, maybe they can tickle them a little bit, but without it... these units, they are just very, very resilient to piercing damage.
And after all this running through the economy, Puppy Paw hit some other economy of CSOs on the south side. You can see Puppy and Wham are up 780 economic units now. Cognate Palace attempting to be built. So we have Imperial Age coming down from both of, now Imperial Age finishing from both of the elephant side. Puppy Paw still sitting in castle, but he's got a lot of elephants to save for himself.
You know what else he has a lot of? Scholars.
27
of them. Yeah. Yep. If Imperial Age comes in, it's gonna be less than a minute for every single upgrade to be finished. And that's crazy. That hits me differently.
Yep. CSO going for another dive, trying to find eco, trying to find somewhere to do some damage, trying to get themselves back into this game. But in reality, he's just letting his TC get burnt to the ground.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. That's what it is at the moment behind all of this. Knights trying to find some damage, and now Palace of the Sultan getting rushed up. Kurultai should be deploying here at the front side now. Keep, though, as well. There are keeps plastered everywhere around the map for Puppy Paw. He's on 132 villagers, 28 scholars. He barely has any room for military units, and he fills it with just the elephants.
Yeah, might as well. You can already see the resources starting to pile up in the bank. So even if the elephants fall, he'll be able to replace those very, very quickly. And oh my.
Imperial Age upgrades a minute. A minute for Imperial Age upgrades.
I'm disgusted right now. And this is disgusting.
It is. It genuinely is. Other civilizations have to pay resources for that.
The writing is on the walls, though. Puppy and Wham in a really good positioning point in this game, but CSO, he is not out of it yet. He's doing everything he can to try to allow some raids to get them back into this game, get their foothold back forward, and that's where we see another successful raid. Elephants moving forward, Mangonels moving forward. Villagers get pulled for the Mangonels.
The upgrade is in on the Armored Beast, so now these elephants don't take any damage from the crossbows at all anymore.
Yep. Wham raiding the farms on the backside with his infantry mass, also defending his base from the attempted raids from CSO. This is a fight that should be a winning fight for him. And meanwhile, Puppy, you said it, he's overboomed. He doesn't have a lot of military population space for himself, but he's still going to take some trades, and all the trades he takes, he can easily replace with all of his eco.
More university upgrades coming in behind this. Knights do get trapped here. I'm going to be able to take him down. Louis, he's transitioning into hand cannoneers. They fare a good bit better, especially under the curl tie against the elephants. Still not that great. And CISO, he's down to 56 villagers. Hasn't been able to get the villager count that back up again. He's added another TC towards the south side there. There's just already so many keeps out everywhere on the map. It's really difficult for Team Elephant to get any decent fights going right now. Their bases are pretty much completely open. Meanwhile, their opponent's base, it's all keeps everywhere.
Yeah, Puppy has 5 keeps finished. Those all can make villagers if he needs them. I say if he needs them because he does not right now. He's got 126. That number has gone down a little bit since we spoke last, and he needs that number to keep falling.
Yeah, Knight's still trying to look for some type of potential damage avenues here. That's enough pastures. And a fight is happening. The elephants, they're immune to range damage at this point in time. No way to take them down.
13 ranged armor. They are laughing in the face of the mass that Louis has, which is mainly ranged. There's 32 crossbows. There's some hand cannoneers. There's some, I think, some con hunters mixed into there as well, and a hui pal. Finally, we see the circle from CSO with his Night Mass. Mangonel should get taken down, but Wham will be pushing into eco. Wham has his own army here too, and wants to press forward with this fight. Army mass now being tripled.
Yeah, it looked good there for a second from CSO, but the Knights disappeared. They vanished. Suddenly, there's only 20 remaining, when I felt like it was 40 charging in at the beginning there.
Yep. Losing their front gold, that positioning point, and we haven't really talked a ton about the golds on this map, but the rest of the golds here are all going to be forward into the mid-map, and so CSO and Louis losing that gold opportunity, this is right when everyone loves gold units the most.
Holocaust got 5,000 food in the bank. That's what happens when you just have 36 scholars, barely any room to make units population cap-wise. You're just pumping out elephants.
He's got 27 Ghazi in queue and has 6,000 food. 30 Ghazi in queue. So really, I mean, this is just absurd with how many resources Puppy has. He also drops a keep on CSO's secondary town center on those wood lines there in the south. So that little pocket expansion that CSO had been going for is no longer. But there are even bigger problems on Team Elephant's side, as the Mongol base is now an elephant base.
Yeah, they can no longer get pushed out of this one now. The elephants, they just reign supreme here. Mind you, 36 of the military from Puppy Paw isn't actually military, it's scholars. But it doesn't really matter. The elephants make up for it.
Yes, they do. Very kind of pop efficient. The biggest drawback is they're just quite slow at times, but Puppy Paw doesn't have to worry about the slowness when he is all inning the base of Louis MT. Villagers under the town center trying to still gather sheep. Hand cannoneers massing up. Louis doing everything he can to hold this position, but there's other TCs going down. CSO losing the secondary TC expansion. Puppy and Wham are winning fights across the board.
Indeed they are. Finally, a couple of night raids do find some value here. But it just feels like it's too late. At this point in time, Puppy and Wham, they probably don't mind losing villagers. It just opens up the avenue of making more military, more keeps, still going up for Puppy Paw. It's just keep after keep after keep after keep in this one. And every single one of these keeps is a potential town center for him as well. An avenue for him to put farms around and just have safe economy wherever he goes.
I honestly would love to see Puppy delete 30 vills right now. He has 62 Ghazi in queue. Just imagine if he had 30 extra Ghazi out on the field. Like, they're already being dominant. They're already winning fights everywhere. That would just cause so much more mayhem. Not that he really needs it, but we need it. The viewers need it. The casters need it here.
Man, I'm surprised that they're not just ending it at this point in time. Like, surely they must know. Surely they must know that they're in a completely dominant position. It's kind of crazy how this game snowballed for the Delhi in this situation, considering that Puppy Paw was denied sacred sites for the entire early game until he reached Castle Age.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows that Delhi, though, he still was able to go up with a ton of scholars in the bank, got so many free resources, and the game finally comes to close. That had some writing on the wall for a little bit. Team Canada, Wham and Puppy, able to take the lead in the series 2-1.
So that means the next one is going to be a potential match point for Team Canada. Looking at the total resources gathered, that's a slight discrepancy. 40,000 resources additionally gathered by Team Canada. I'm telling you, man, these guys are boomers.
That they are. We've seen some walls early on from them, and I mean, that game was one that as it just kept extending, they kept getting in a better and better and better position.
Eco lost. I mean, that's high on both sides, but still, towards the end of it, you can look at the economy count. It doesn't feel like it really mattered. Like, any villager that Wham and Puppy Paw lost there just got instantly replaced again.
Mm-hmm. What a fun game that we just saw. And that's just the third game of this series. Now we have the potential match point, potential game decider. Will Puppy and Wham be able to make it on to the finals, or will they be moving on to a game 5 and have an elephant and everything on the line?
Oh man, looking back at the instant replay here, it looked for a moment like the fight was gonna be okay for Louis and CSO there, but they took the fight before the upgrades came through. So many archers here not vetted up at the point in time where that really was needed. Fight taken a little bit too early, and we can see on the minimap, like the curl tie was on the completely different side of the map here. Louis MT getting caught out of position, still no curl tie buff. Fight getting taken without it, and the backline from Wham, just so many range units here pushing CSO and Louis back across the entire map.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the story of this series. I feel like it's just been a lot of it culminates with these big fights, and a lot of times they've gone the way of Puppy and Wham, other than the one game where CSO and Louis just had too many royal bloodlines French knights to be able to deal with them.
Yeah, here we had the moment where the Spaskaya Tower did go up. Looks like we lost around like 10 villagers over on the side of Team Elephant. Did manage to secure it up though, and that did protect the entire farming economy. Ah man, this was a rough one. That was a really nice quick wall there from the side of CSO, just decimating the night count there at one point in time
Yeah,
from Puppy Paw.
it's so hard to deal with knights when they're just running back behind your eco throughout the map, and that's where some of those short walls behind woodlines do wonders there. Obviously, you don't always expect a full wall out, but yet another good fight taken by Puppy and Wham. Puppy's just moving forward with that elephant mass, and Team Elephant couldn't deal with it at all. So game 3 came to a conclusion, and now we already see the setup for game number 4.
Game number 4, the potential match point now for Team Canada. Team Elephant really has to give it all, and I'm looking at the civilizations, and I know these are comfort picks for them. We're getting the Ayubids, we're getting Jeanne d'Arc. These are like their main civilizations. Over on the other hand side, Rus and the Mongols for Team Canada.
Yeah, and that's one where, you know, when you'd think that right off the bat you see Mongols and you're like, okay, Tower Rush is coming. So, you know, JD, Ayubids trying to focus with the Tower Rush, and now Rus can kind of do their own thing, whether it's 2 TCs or whether they want to be the Cav Civ. So both sides kind of have their own prowesses. You can see that Team Canada really wanted to have a Cav Civ with going with Rus and French and Mongols. Every single one of them have feudal age knights, or pseudo knights, I guess I should say.
Yeah, I mean, Keshiks are... We're probably not going to see Keshiks, right? They got Rus, so Keshiks aren't going to be coming in. Knights... I'm looking at John. I'm just looking at John. I'm just thinking, man, if we're getting to a point in time where we're going to see, like, mass John's riders coming in as well, like, these guys are so strong. You get them in Feudal Age, and they're absolutely ridiculous for Feudal Age units. Like, their 8 health pool rivals that of Knights in Feudal Age. They barely cost any gold. You can make them out of the stables, and you can, like, get the big discount on them as well. Sure, they cost a lot of food, but you're getting a big discount on that. And how much armor do they start with again? I think it's like 6 pierce armor, and once you go to Castle Age, they auto upgrade to 7 pierce armor.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And we've seen a lot of fights today where one player might have 50, 60 range units, whether it's a combination of archers or archer crossbow. But those JD riders are just the perfect unit to counter those ranged masses, and so much more effective than your typical horsemen are.
Yeah, they most definitely are. Like, you can... Also, the melee damage is just a lot more. I think they also have an attack speed of 1.5 compared to 1.88, so they also attack faster. There's an upgrade in the blacksmith that you can get for them in Castle Age to even further boost up their damage. They're pretty great if you can get to them. Alongside that, Desert Raiders from the Ayubids, also very, very strong. You're gonna debuff your enemies' cavalry alongside that. It's time for us now to jump into our game number 4, potential match point for Team Canada. And that's the spawn. That is a spawn if you're Puppy Paul.
He had to roll his TC quite a bit of a ways there. So yeah, Puppy Paul will be down a villager. Usually it's like half a villager that Mongols is down. It'll be more like a full villager here with how long it took him to roll that on out. But for good reason, it is a lovely location that he was able to place his TC at.
Yeah, I mean, having the gold right next to the TC, having the Uwu right next to the TC, your base for the first 12, 13 minutes is going to be unrateable.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even be surprised. We've seen all these deer pushing happening. I wouldn't even be surprised to see some deer get pushed on into the TC as well.
Yeah, definitely an option. The deer are pretty close to him. Louis, did he actually spot that TC there? He did walk by nearby it. Oh, he didn't see it. Not quite, at least. Oh, he's walking right by it. This is such a weird spot to have your base in. Like, nobody would expect the base from Mongol player to be there. Just because you know how Cliffside spawns, right? Like, you know that he shouldn't be there. He should be further to the right side of the map.
Yeah, and that's also one that Mongols is where you'll see players lose scouts the most, because you're used to knowing where TC is going to spawn, and you're like moving your shift click and your scout around, and all of a sudden it's like, why is his TC there? I was not ready for that at all.
Indeed, behind this, Wham, already getting the second scout out. While he's playing Rus, he can get those scouts out from the hunting cabin, so not gonna have to sacrifice a villager for that.
So seeing this game now starting to get some feudal ages being dropped here in a second, Wham will see that Kremlin location, or Golden Gate, as I know that he doesn't complain about going Golden Gate quite often. And it is Golden Gate.
Yeah, it's coming in here for him. On the other hand side, Ayubit is aging up, and it's going to be the economic wing growth for him. Falcon does come in from Puppy Paw, so they will know which wing it is going to be here. And now the Spearmen arrive.
Spearmen arrive, should be able to force Louis off of that gold, try to start burning. Oh, what a quick delete. As the torch was coming, I was about to say, at least get some bounty bonus. He didn't even focus the vills. He went straight for the mining camp, and Louis just, what a quick reaction.
Yeah, very, very good reaction there from Louis. Doesn't give over that additional 50 resource towards his opponent. School of Cavalry is coming in, and CSO undenied on gold for the time being here. Spearman now gonna have to walk all the way across the map. And in theory, we could just get Archer Zone here, and she's gonna be able to deal with the Spearman no problem. Actually, just Melee Zone would be completely fine as well.
Yep. And now the question is going into Feudal Age. Obviously, you know, it's going to be Deerstones coming on in for Puppy Paw, but is he going to be playing more of a Feudal Age gameplay, kind of going into archers to support the most likely knights from Wham?
Yeah, that's gonna be the question here. I mean, Wham with the Golden Gate could also just go Cav Archers then in Castle Age, and then Puppy Paw could bring the cavalry with the Keshiks.
Yeah, the big drawback with going horse archers and cav archers is just that I feel like desert raiders can still trade pretty efficiently into those, especially if you consider the overall army composition that you can make.
I'm not sure how well they can fight against the, like, cav archers. They're kind of beastly with their base damage, and normal archers already don't do bonus damage to the desert raiders. Having the increased base damage on the cav archers should make them quite good there.
Mining camp attempting to be denied by those two spears, but no bounty bonus gonna be going on over CSO. Just sends one little vill over there, starts tapping on the hammer, and no problem at all. And at the same time, Louis has been able to resecure his gold and build an outpost there.
Yeah, so his gold access is gonna be fine now for the time being, and we do. Oh, he's luring both, man. He's luring both the deer spots.
I knew it. When I saw the deer spawn, I knew it was gonna end up happening.
That's kind of crazy, but yeah, that's gonna happen here. So that's gonna be 14 deer, slowly but surely being lured over towards the base from Puppy Paw. That's 5,000 food, pretty much.
And in the meantime, Wham says, cool tricks. I'm just going to grab the deer myself with scouts and bring them right under my TC, save myself some APM, save myself some headache.
Yeah, so both our Canadian players here are going to have a lot of food income to play with.
Knight comes out, JD trying to chase those spears on away. Wham doing a nice, he walled off his gold, that's for sure.
Yeah, the gold is indeed walled. There is not a lot of ways to attack this gold unless there's a desert raider or two.
Yeah.
That would be like, nice walls, man. I don't mind.
JD going ahead and getting that boar, securing up some extra experience for herself. And that desert raider is trying to get closed down by the spears, but instead the spears will just get laughed at by the desert raider.
Yeah, I mean, he's just way too quick. That camel is gonna do a nice little 180 there. It's gonna zoom on out of there. There it is, the great deer pack, the great deer conversion over towards the base of Puppy Paw.
Yeah, and now what is next step? Still gonna be Wham has yet to, okay, there we go, double stables. So now that he's getting the deer in, that gold, like you said, was not able to be secured fully.
Yeah, now the question is, double stable, what for in the end? He's gonna have to rely on Puppy Paw. He's making archers, he's making spearmen. Without that mass, he's not gonna be able to go back out onto gold. And CSO and Louis, they got a good villager lead behind all of that.
Yeah, like you saw that one desert raider literally just sitting on the gold. Like, all right, I'm doing my job. You can't get gold, and it's gonna be a while before there's anywhere that Wham can try to like move over and get gold to. So he's really got to, like you said, rely on Puppy or rely on the Golden Gate, rely on Bounty, all these different little things.
Puppy Paw's a reliable fellow, though. You can already see he's coming across. He's going to be able to help his brother out.
Yep, and I love this. He's not just moving across with a few archers, because that's what he needs to, you know, ultimately defend up. If he just had a few archers inside the walls, Desert Raiders couldn't do anything. But he can't get across with just archers. He needs to escort them with the spears. So Puppy making sure to not lose, you know, units for no reason.
Yeah, it's a big army clump here at the moment. Louis and CSO, they don't quite have what it takes in order to take this down. I mean, sure, Desert Raiders are nice, but they can't really deal with the Spearman front line, at least not quickly enough. Like, you need a lot of Desert Raiders, and you gotta make sure they don't just get sniped immediately.
Yeah. Oh, snipe goes onto the wolf, not the Desert Raider. But Puppy has now moved across the map with his whole entire mass. CSO and Louis
Oh, this
are a
could be
little
bad.
bit vulnerable here. You just spot out the boar that was being gathered. Louis just clicked up to Castle Age. Desert Raiders are taking a fight against some knights. Wham trying to pull back the lower health knight. Wasn't quite able to get out in time, but all four of those Desert Raiders are very low health.
Villager is trying to run away now. Actually, do manage to survive. No Yamara means as well that they're not going to get picked off there. John also is able to run away in time.
Are those walls finished on the backside? Yeah, they
Even if
are.
they aren't,
Oh,
no,
they're
they're
not.
not. You just run. You just run.
But Puppy Paw did a great job. He split his unit mass on either side of the wall. So now even if the walls do get finished, there should be some vills that at least take some damage here. They are just spears on this side, not archers. So going to try to cut off the location. Great job getting in between the villagers, getting the most effective damage there and trying to mess up with some of the pathing.
One villager will go down, but the majority is going to be able to stay alive here. Archer's also getting found out. So overall, I mean, looking at the military count, it still looks kind of grim for CSO and Louis. They gotta really get some unit mass going here soon. I'm imagining, yeah, it looks like Louis is just gonna go into mass archers now. Wham, he's gonna soon be able to click up to next age.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like, well, nice. It's like, yeah, you expect this when Louis' castle. It's like, well, Wham's dropping castle now. It's not like he's gotten some crazy timing. Wham can also rush this up if he wants, contest relics, get upgrades on his knights that he has. And so those archers from Louis, they need to surely do a lot.
Yeah, so expectations right now are pretty high on that side. We did get culturing logistics in, so there we go. 3 dervishes now coming out, immediately getting rallied over to different relics. Let's see if they can actually get them in. That's going to be the main question here towards the end of it. But as the age got confirmed, Puppy Paw now with a massive amount of military, just so many archers and spearmen going towards the push towards Louis' base.
Yeah, and while they're, you know, CSO does have some knights. He's got 8 knights out on the field. 17 spears as that front line will be more than enough to help deter that knight mass away. Louis also is a little bit out on some berries. I think he's about to have some villagers get taken down. Those villagers are at risk. That's only one single outpost. Plenty of spears here to start burning that down. Woodline also starting to get focused down. Late reaction by Louis, loses a villager there. So that's about 6, 7, 8 villagers that just fall. Wololo to push some of those knights back away as the initial relics start getting brought back. But really good timing from Wham and Puppy here to try to punish this castle from Louis.
Yeah, punishment definitely dealt out now. Archers might be getting the veterancy upgrade, but doesn't feel like it's quite enough at this point in time. With veterancy, that's still not a good fight for you to take.
Yeah, and now Louis not really going to be able to secure up any gold. Villagers do get spotted out by Wham's knights, so it takes takes one more villager out on his circle out and around. One knight splits off. I wouldn't be surprised if he just turns that one right back around.
Yeah, CSO doing the same thing though. Villagers now inside the TC, so at least a couple of spearmen are getting picked off. Another 2 villagers went down there.
Great job by Wham with that split off. So you can see Wham and Puppy, they are ahead in eco, they are ahead in military, and the age ups, the techs are basically even. Louis was a little bit ahead by like a minute or so compared to Wham, but I feel like Wham's has so much, like, has this like quick payoff with Roos. You have, you know, the high trade house that immediately starts bringing in gold. You have some quicker relic gathering yourself as well with your warrior monks too to kind of equalize and compare to the dervishes.
That's true. I mean, still, though, like, Jean's knights are still able to take some fights, even against Castle Age knights here at this point in time, just because whenever they charge, they do get that bonus damage in. You're able to heal them back up, and overall, that gives you a certain amount of ability to take fights that usually you shouldn't really be able to take. I think right now, the situation is just kind of very desperate for Louis and CSO, because now the Kurultai is also coming up, and behind that, Puppy Paw, he's got 42 archers.
Yeah, once veteran upgrades come through on the spears, come through onto the archers, and especially if they fight inside that Kurultai with the bonus, it's going to be hard to deal with Puppy Paw's mass here.
At least Puppy Paw isn't able to wall as the Mongols, so maybe this relic might even make it back.
Oh, calm down. GG's in the chat. But Kurultai has now finished. Puppy Paw reaches castle. CSO, Royal Institute, not far from finishing. Once he clicks up, though, he will need, I think he needs a little bit more food for Royal Bloodlines. It's going to be a minute and a half after that.
How many relics did Wham actually manage to get in this game? I think he managed to get the lion's share of the relics. At this point in time, Age-Up has come in for CSO as well. Just needs to wait to get that veterancy upgrade in on those knights. This is one on the retreat. Now tries to go for the counter charge.
And good turnaround by Wham. Still no upgrade in yet for CSO, so he's fighting when he has that advantage still. But Louis comes to help, and Wham's just going to circle around, run away. You can see that massive blue blob on the map. It's moving across. Puppy has more military than Team Elephant does.
Yeah, I mean, just a single player having more military than the other side combined. One more relic going over for Louis. I think it's like a 4-3 split for Team Canada. I think they probably have the most amount of relics. There's one monastery. I think there's a second monastery probably for Wham on the other side of space. Maybe not. Maybe it is a 3-4 split.
Oh,
yeah, it's a
three.
3-4
Okay.
split. Okay, so Louis actually has the lion's share at the end of it all.
But here are those military masses now that we're speaking. There's 15 knights for CSO, 26 for Wham, albeit CSOs can be Royal Bloodlines upgraded. 50 archers on either side, essentially, and then Puppy has some extra spears to talk for himself. So really has that extra counter unit composition in there into the mix, allows the Knights of Wham to do a little bit more.
Oh, his Fortitude is going to make up at least in certain part, though, for that bonus HP that CSO is getting. I mean, now with the Kurultai as well, it is so tough to take these engagements. And now Puppy and Wham, they're driving that wedge between CSO and Louis. They're denying the mobility of them now.
Yep, diving the wood line of Louis, who is also the one making all archers, so should kind of halt that production just a little bit or make it a little bit harder to keep that archer mass going. Knights starting to dive, though. This is what's going down. Knights on knights, but also spears are going to help support from Puppy. Wololo coming in from Louis. Don't think it's going to be enough unless Wham and Puppy make a mistake. They stay right around the edge, right on the outside of that Wololo, and CSO's Knights are still alive and healthy, but so are Wham's. The problem isn't the Knights, it's the archer mass that's starting to get thin from Louis.
Yeah, not that many archers remaining. Spearmen, still enough of them here. John's Riders did manage to come out as well. Level 3 for John has been achieved. A couple of Spearmen managed to take the Dervish down as well. Now behind, there's no more Knights remaining here now at the front line. And they're getting pushed in.
Kurultai set up. Wham still has 20 knights after this fight, just like we saw in the earlier games. Wham, he should just split off a few different knights into the economy. There's no way that Team Elephant can defend this now. TC is fully surrounded. A relic heist is indeed happening. Wham says, thank you very much. That one is mine.
Yeah, now Louis completely out of food. No villager gathering food for him at the moment. Archer production pretty much halted now as well, unable to afford anymore, and it's just no way back in this one. It looks like Team Canada is going to be able to be our second finalist, and we're going to have a final with 3 Deaders versus Team Canada.
Indeed, we will. 3 Deadus was that first series of the day. A very exciting 5-game series versus KQP, and now a 4-game series, most likely, if Wham and Puppy can close this one out. The writing's on the wall. They're quadrupling the military count. They are pushing into the bases. They're diving economy, diving masses. It is all but over.
So CSO and Louis, they're warriors. They are fighting, but there we go. GG gets called. It's just too much of a swarm coming out from the Canadians. And that means we now know who our finalists are going to be.
Yeah, we had 2 best of 5s to start the day, and they lived up to expectations. Series going the distance, and then we'll have a best of 7 to round it out between the winners here.
Man, military value lead just kind of paints the whole picture, right? Like it's just an all-out military overload from Team Canada here. Puppypaw going for that prolonged feudal age, but just getting so much value out of those mass archers and spearmen. The double deer lure there as well, just providing him with so much food throughout the entire game.
Yeah, and this isn't one of those graphs where we get to try to make some excuse where it's like, hey, well, their Byzantine oil units don't count. No, this graph is it painted the picture as Team Canada had a significant military mass lead throughout the middle and kind of rest of the points of that game after it.
And as a result, we know our finalists, commiserations to Team Elephant, they will go out in the semis. It means that it is going to be a showdown between Eastern Europe and the Canadians, plus a little bit of American sprinkling in there. We're still waiting to see if we can get a game played at some point. But boys, what a crazy series. I mean, looking at the way this played out, across the course of the tournament, right? We're taking a preview of Wham and Puppypaw in the quarterfinals here, which is pretty. I think it's pretty important to kind of look at the consistency to start hitting these more aggressive timings. The crazy thing, though, is how they were able to play into the later phase of the game up against Team Elephant, where we kind of expected Team Elephant to be a little bit more scary, right, Crackety?
Yeah, indeed. And this one, it just felt like Canada always had the correct answers to whatever Team Elephant was trying to dish up on the table for them.
I think looking back at this series, Dabston, I think it almost seemed like that opening game. We saw how well Elephant played. Canada adapted. Did it really feel like we saw that same level of adaptation from Elephant to what Canada were doing in the later games?
I mean, I feel like they kind of had their strategies and they stuck to their guns. And the bigger thing too for the later stages is they didn't get late to the later stages on equal footing. Every time we're getting to the middle late stages, Team Canada already has an eco lead or already had a military lead other than that game number 1.
I mean, it's crazy to think they're going into this weekend. I think Elephant were starting to look like the favorites. They were definitely looking at the favorites for me, but it's always that clash of play styles. I always wonder, if we had different styles, if we had a flip situation where maybe a double elim, do we see a different outcome? Because we're going to have some polarizing clashes here, I want to say, Crackety. While this one was one where either side could go into the late phase of the game, I think what Canada has done here is, across the quarters and the semis, proved their ability to play both early and late. We still haven't fully seen that from Free Deader, right? Like, they tend to play at such a pace that I don't really know what late game is like for that team.
That's true. I mean, Anderson definitely can play late game, and we've seen B on occasion also go the distance for like hour-long plus games. I imagine that they can definitely play the late game in combination, though. That's another story if they can play it coordinated in like together.
I mean, it's a fair point you bring up about B as well, right? He kind of had a reputation actually back in the StarCraft days. I mean, he was a Zerg main, right? So he's familiar with the idea of sticking his straw into the map and sucking it all up until there was nothing left. So maybe they can play for that late game. Whether the draft is going to allow for it or whatnot, we'll have to see. I mean, it's going to be a best of 7. So we should at least have some, maybe see a few more splashes around in the ponds. And that's going to be exciting to witness because, I think Canada haven't had many opportunities to show their water play. And Free Deaders, would we say it was left a little bit wanting after that series against the Spaniards?